Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information related to your Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember, like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content to stay up to date with everything Steelers. Sorry about no post last Friday. Was feeling a little bit under the weather. I'm sorry. This post is coming to you a little later today. We had a planned one at 10:30, but you know what happened at 10? This big deal, blockbuster trade with the Steelers and the Dolphins. We've been talking about it for the past 2 weeks now. Jalen Ramsey rumors were ramping up. Then they kind of cooled off last week. Ian Rappaport reported that he didn't think Ramsey was going to end up the Steeler, more likely a Ram. But today at 10 o'clock Eastern time, the Steelers have pulled it off. Massive trade. The Steelers will receive Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a late round draft pick. Absolutely blockbuster deal right here. As I said, it seemed like it was mostly going to LA. That video I had uploaded or planned earlier before the deal went through was literally me talking about Ian Rappaport just shitting on our hopes of getting Ramsey. Guess what? He didn't know. Same with Calvin Brooks from the comments section last week saying this wasn't going to happen, but he wishes it would. Well, that's why we wish, because never say never, baby. Jalen Ramsey is a Pittsburgh Steeler now. And what does that mean for the team? Let's run down every position group affected by this trade. First off, the cornerback room. Big deal. The cornerback room is now, I would say, clearly a premier cornerback room in this league, top tier cornerback room in this league, up there with the Ravens probably now. After they added Jair Alexander, we would go out, one up them, let them know they're still our little brother, even if they've had a couple better seasons previously. But they're still our little brother. We got the bigger one, the bigger name. Jalen Ramsey joins the team. Him I gotta praise the Steelers organization a little bit here, as the big flaw on this defense last year was the secondary. A lot of youth in the secondary that was kind of figuring things out, learning on the fly. Well, this year went out and signed Darius Slay, go out and trade for another veteran in Jalen Ramsey. Now you got two solidified guys, two solidified veterans that add something to the room. Then you got Ramsey and Porter, who are two guys that should never leave the field defensively. They should be out there every play. Ramsey slots right now nice into the nickel position for us. You got Slay and Porter on the outside, but if either of them struggle, you can move Jalen really anywhere in the secondary. He's one of those guys that plug and play, and he'll be as effective as ever wherever you put him. So that is what we have to look for in the secondary room. Also, the additions of these veterans, very nice. But what's nice is having behind them all the youth we have in that secondary room that get to learn from players like Ramsey and Darius Slay. You got Corey Trice, Beanie Bishop, James Pierre, all young players that can only benefit from having these veteran quarterbacks in the room with them, someone to learn from. I am really excited about seeing this secondary absolutely transform over this offseason. It should be locked down next year. If it's not, everything has failed. If it's not a shutdown cornerback group, that means Darius Slay has fallen off. That means Jalen Ramsey has fallen off. I don't think both of them are. Darius Slay, a little more iffy, but Jalen Ramsey, he's as premier as it gets when it comes to a cornerback in this league. I am really excited to see what that holds for us next year and excited to watch them all get out on the field. Let's talk about the back end of the secondary, though, with the safeties. Um, who's going to be the next guy up after Minkah Fitzpatrick? First off, let's pour one out. Pour one out for Minkah Fitzpatrick. He might have been my favorite player on the Steelers, but to get a deal like this through, you got to give up some key pieces. And Minkah, the past couple years, has his interception numbers have really dipped. Those first couple years in Pittsburgh, he was an interception turnover machine for us. Previous 2 seasons, he's played 27 games, only one interception. That's not going to get it done. You're a free safety. Your job really is really dependent on how many turnovers you can force. So I am sad to see Minkah Fitzpatrick go, but it's part of life. As Frank Sinatra would say, that's life. But who will fill in. Juan Thornhill, we've heard reports that he has really impressed the coaching staff and the front office at his time with his time here at OTAs and training camps. He's been very impressive to the Steelers staff of coaches and front office. So they are really leaning all in on him. The safety room was a little didn't seem like we had too much depth there to begin with, and now we get rid of a starting safety and place Juan Thornhill in there to begin. Now Juan did start his career really well with Kansas City. He's played 4 years there, all four strong seasons with the Chiefs. Of course, won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, and then his previous 2 years with the Browns. Under the Browns, I mean, you go to the Browns, you turn into a Brown, and suck. That's just how it happens unless you're Myles Garrett. When you join the Browns, you're not going to be good anymore. So Juan Thornhill struggled the previous 2 seasons in Cleveland, but hopefully now that he has a competent organization around him once again, like he did in Kansas City, he can blossom into that player that he's truly meant to be. He wasted a couple of those prime years in Cleveland. Hopefully, he can extend his prime a little bit longer with his time in Pittsburgh. I really think the key factor here is if our front line struggles in the run game again, that's something Minkah Fitzpatrick did bring to this as a safety. He was really good at open field tackling, and that's something you kind of question sometimes with Juan Thornhill. So if he can improve that a little bit, it will feel like we're not missing too much of that safety protection on the run games to stop those big 20, 30-yard runs that we've seen in the past. It usually was Minkah Fitzpatrick chasing running backs down for us when we did end up in those situations. So hopefully Juan Thornhill will be able to achieve that also when he's playing in our free safety role. But I think him and Deshaun Elliott should be pretty solid back there. Once again, now that we have lockdown cornerbacks, it feels like all three of our cornerbacks should be pretty shut down this year. It takes a little bit of pressure off that safety position, so Thornhill doesn't really have to be completely what Minkah Fitzpatrick was for us in those early years. But I would still like to see the interceptions at free safety go up just a little bit. Let's get maybe two this year at least. Come on, Thornhill. I know you got it for us. Let's finish with the offensive side of the ball because Jonnu Smith was added in this trade also. Another big name that was rumored to be coming to us for a while. I'm not going to lie. I was one of the people not really on board with just bringing in Jonnu Smith. I can get on board that it was packaged with Jalen Ramsey because I've been raving about Jalen Ramsey for a couple weeks now, and I've really wanted him. So I am fine bringing in Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith, he also solidifies this tight end room a little bit better. I mean, we did have Pat Fryermuth, who's the clear number one tight end. And then you had Darnell Washington, who was more of the package guy, more of the run package situations where he could be more physical in the run game. He's a better blocker than probably Pat Fryermuth, just a big, imposing body on the edge of the line. Now you got Jonnu Smith, a second receiving threat in that tight end room. This could be very beneficial to our veteran cornerback in Aaron Rodgers. He's not the most mobile guy anymore. He's not going to be able to extend plays. So maybe having two tight ends close to the line of scrimmage where you can kind of dump it down when you get into a little bit of trouble isn't the worst case scenario for us since we do have that veteran Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position. I think it really all kind of depends upon if Arthur Smith can actually show us his offensive coordinator prowess and be able to team up some stuff for two tight end sets where it actually feels like an optimal formation when we put them both out there. It just sometimes last year, it just didn't feel like Arthur Smith really had any skill at calling plays. So maybe this year, with an addition to the weapons on the offensive side of the ball, he can finally scheme some stuff up to get players open instead of forcing the players to basically get themselves open. It's always nice when you got a coach that can get your players open instead of relying on the players' athleticism. So that's what it really depends upon to me is if Arthur Smith can draw up a scheme for this offense with two solid receiving tight ends. I mean, Jonnu Smith has been a weapon for Miami the past couple seasons. Him and Pat Fryermuth, have the possibility to be a lethal duo in the middle of the field. So, once again, all depends on if Arthur Smith, at our offensive coordinator, can team it up for Aaron Rodgers and this offense to be successful with the weapons out wide and now in the middle of the offense. But that has been it from Steelers Latest. I've been your host, Cole Dennis, and I will see you tomorrow.